Euler phi function. Let m be a positive integer, then let m be a positive integer. Euler phi function of m is denoted by phi of m, and phi of m is the number of positive integers less than or equal to m and relatively prime or equal to m and relatively prime to m is Euler phi function. Relatively prime to m. m-നേക്കാളും ചെറുതും m-ഉമായിട്ട് relatively prime ആയിട്ടുള്ള ആൾക്കാരുടെ എണ്ണമാണ് അല്ലേ. 1-നേക്കാൾ ചെറുത് 1-ഉമായിട്ട് relatively prime ആയ ആൾക്കാരുടെ എണ്ണം 1 മാത്രമാണ്. അപ്പോൾ phi of 1 1 ആണ് അല്ലേ. 2-നേക്കാളും ചെറിയതും 2-ഉമായിട്ട് relatively prime ആയ ആൾക്കാരുടെ എണ്ണം GCD of 2 and 1 is equal to 1 ആണ്. അപ്പോൾ 1 മാത്രമാണ് 2-നേക്കാളും ചെറുതും 2-ഉമായിട്ട് relatively prime ആയിട്ടുള്ളത്. അതുകൊണ്ട് phi of 2 ഒരെണ്ണം മാത്രമേ ഉള്ളൂ. phi of 1 ഉം 1 ആണ്. phi of 2 ഉം 1 ആണ്. ഇപ്പോൾ GCD of 3 and 1 is 1 ആണ്. GCD of 3 and 2 is 1 ആണ്. അപ്പോൾ 3ഉം 1 and 3 are relatively prime, 2 and 3 are relatively prime. Therefore, number of positive integers less than or equal to 3 and relatively prime to 3 is 2, 1 and 2. So phi of 3 is 2. We have GCD of 4 and 1 is 1. GCD of 4 and 2 is 2, not equal to 1. GCD of 4 and 3 is equal to 1. Here 4 and 1 are relatively prime. 4 and 2 are not relatively prime. 4 and 3 are relatively prime. That means number of positive integers less than or equal to 4 and relatively prime to 4 is 2. So phi of 4 is 2. അപ്പോൾ 1ഉം 3ഉം മാത്രമേ 4-നേക്കാളും ചെറുതും 4-ഉമായിട്ട് റിലേറ്റീവ്ലി പ്രൈം ആവുന്ന ആൾക്കാരുള്ളൂ. അതുകൊണ്ട് 2 എണ്ണമേ ഉള്ളൂ. phi of 4 2 ആണ്. അപ്പോൾ 5-ന്റെയും 1-ന്റെയും GCD 1 ആണ്. GCD of 5 and 2 is 1 ആണ്. GCD of 5 and 3 is equal to 1 ആണ്. GCD of 5 and 4 is 1. So the positive integers less than or equal to 5 and relatively prime to 5 are 1, 2, 3 and 4. Therefore, number of positive integers less than or equal to 5 and relatively prime to 5 denoted by phi of 5, it is 4. Similarly, phi of GCD of 6 and 1 is 1. GCD of 6 and 2 is 2, not equal to 1. GCD of 6 and 3 is equal to 3, not equal to 1. GCD of 6 and 4 is equal to 2, not equal to 1. GCD of 6 and 5 is equal to 1. So the positive integers less than or equal to 6 and relatively prime to 6 are 1 and 5, which implies number of positive integers less than or equal to 6 and relatively prime to 6 is 2. So phi of 6 is 2. Similarly, GCD of 7 and 1 is equal to 1. GCD of 7 and 2 is equal to 1. GCD of 7 and 3 is equal to 1. Since 7 is prime, all positive integers less than or equal to 7 and all positive integers less than or equal to 7 are relatively prime to 7, which implies phi of 7 is 6. That means we get phi of 1 is 1, phi of 2 is 1, phi of 3 is 2, phi of 4 is 2, phi of 5 is 4, phi of 6 is 2, phi of 7 is 6. Phi of 7 is 6. See, if P is prime, every integer is less than or equal to P and relatively prime to P are 1, 2. If P is a prime number, the positive integers less than or equal to P and relatively prime to P are 1, 2, 3, etc. P minus 1. Hence, phi of P is P minus 1. Phi of P is P minus 1. If n is not prime, then n can be written as, by fundamental theorem of arithmetic, we can write n is equal to P1 raised to R1 into P2 raised to R2 into P3 raised to R3. etc. pk raised to rk, where p1, p2, p3, etc. pk are distinct primes, and r1, r2, r3, etc. rk are non-negative integers, then the Euler phi function of n is phi of n is equal to n into 1 minus 1 by p1. This is a general formula for finding Euler phi function for n, 1 minus 1 by p2, etc. 1 minus 1 by pk. This is Euler phi function for a positive integer n which is composite. If it is a prime, then phi of p is p minus 1. If p is not a prime, then we can write p as p can be factored like this. P is if n is not a prime, then n can be factored like this. N is equal to p1 raised to r1, p2 raised to r2, etc. pk raised to rk. Then phi of n is 1 by n into 1 minus 1 by p1 into 1 minus 1 by p2, etc. 1 minus 1 by pk. Using this result, we can find Euler phi function of an integer, any integer. Suppose n is equal to 100, then we can write n is equal to 2 square into 5 square. That is a prime factorization of n. So phi of 100, we can write 100 is this is 2 square 5 square. Therefore, using this formula, phi of 100 is equal to 100 into 1 minus 1 by 2 into 1 minus 1 by 5. So 100 into 1 by 2 into 4 by 5. So this is 40. So phi of 100 is 40. Okay. 1 മുതൽ 100 വരെയുള്ള ആൾക്കാരിൽ ആരൊക്കെയാണ് 100 റിലേറ്റീവ്ലി പ്രൈം ആണെന്ന് നോക്കിക്കൊണ്ടിരിക്കാതെ തന്നെ പെട്ടെന്ന് phi of 100ന്റെ ആൻസർ ഈ ഫോർമുല യൂസ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് 40 ആണെന്ന് പറയാൻ പറ്റും അല്ലേ. അതുപോലെ phi of 500, we can write 500. 500 is equal to 2 square into 5 cube. 2 square into 5 cube. So phi of 500 is equal to 500 into 1 minus 1 by 2 into 1 minus 1 by 5. So 500 into 1 by 2 into 4 by 5. So it is 200. So phi of 500 is 200. Similarly, what is, we can write 1000. 1000 is written as 2 square into 2 cube into 5 cube. So phi of 1000 is 1000 into 1 minus 1 by 2 into 1 minus 1 by 5. So 1000 into 1 by 2 into 4 by 5. So it is 400. Phi of 1000 is 400. So we can easily find Euler phi function of any integer using this formula. It's very important formula.